Well, it's a big deal, and especially in 1950 when he did that. They didn't have all the divisions, so there was only one state champion, and he's it. So.
What's this like with your family too? When they found out that Dad was going to be inducted into a Hall of Fame too, has it kind of stirred some really good things?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, like I said, we knew that track and field was a big part of my dad's life. He was still coaching girls track for the local high school up until the year before he died, and he just loved it. My kids are still involved in track and field now, and so kind of the program goes on.
I think that it's great to reflect upon the past. It obviously shapes who you are, but it's also helpful to put things into perspective. And I think all of the things that happened in our past have defined who we are and what we are today. So if I can serve as a role model for student athletes and girls, there aren't very many of them here this evening. Girls in general, I think that it's time well spent to do things like this.
What's this night like for you? To have a common bond with so many other people from many years and who went to the same high school?
It's been a lot of fun to share the football field with so many. Obviously we have a lot of football players here this evening. Had a lot of football players there, last evening, but it's just great to be surrounded by people who have core values and who have worked hard and have a good work ethic.
Geneseo has always been such an athletic town anyway, and all the girls that I went through high school with, we always played the same sports. It was the same girls. We grew up together, playing ball together. So it was just, there was no choice. We had, no choice. It was an athletic town. We grew up, in the Little League, youth softball, baseball programs, and of course the football. My home, I grew up right across the street from the old athletic field, so I had no choice. We had tennis courts there, we had throwing rings there, we had a track, and a football field. So not only what I was doing, we also learned how to do some button hooks, some down and outs, and learned how to punt, and then, coming here to high school and everything. In 1974, that's when we first started competing, and so basically we were the breakthrough girls that brought female, into the sports world here in Geneseo. So,
did you guys feel like pioneers at that time?
I believe so, but we didn't really know it. But at that time, now looking back, oh yeah, I think we were.
Well, those guys on the 77 and 78 state championship teams, some of them we brought up as sophomores in 76. They were our babies. And, we raised them well, and they went out and got 2 more state titles. It's been emotional. It was emotional going on the field last night. It brought back some big, deep emotions.
There's a lot of that going on today, that maybe those things get tucked away, but an event like this, a situation like this, kind of brings it out and adds or speaks to the value of those important times in your life.
We spent more of our time as we were getting ready to flap our wings and leave the nest with those coaches than we did with our parents. And those guys had a major influence on our lives. And we still, I know I do, and I think the other guys still use those lessons that we learned from the game today.
Last night was really nice there, especially with the home game and everything and that, and got to see a lot of people that I haven't seen for a long time, and it's just, it's amazing how the community and all the other players do come back for this and everything, and it was real nice, and today especially was a real good experience. I mean, it's a thing of a lifetime that you'd always dream of, but you would never know of it or think of it and everything, and it was real nice. I give thanks to all the committee members and everything that did the work.
It was kind of a neat experience, rekindling old friendships, and a lot of friends that I hadn't seen in a long time, and so that was wonderful. And it was kind of neat. I knew Sue Fortune, but I had forgotten that she was a state champion, and so that was kind of neat to see her up there. Because I remember I was just a little freshman throwing with her, and I thought, what, she's a pretty good thrower, and I never knew how good, when I was that young. So that was kind of neat. It was a neat experience.
Where do those experiences fit in? Obviously it's great being a state champion, but maybe just going through the program. Does that affect you today, even, you know, just
Absolutely.
lessons learned?
I am who I am because of this program. I mean, you know, the school, you know, the opportunities that you have here, you know, the education, the teachers, but the biggest thing for me was the football. That was a huge impact on my life, absolutely.
Is that something that, you know, you didn't realize at the time, maybe? And maybe there's more value as time went by?
No, I knew it was important. I knew that, you know, Coach Reed and all the other coaches that I talked about earlier, I knew that they were basically, you know, going to be very important to my life, and so I listened to them. And not all the time, maybe, but I think I listened enough to where I could make an impact on my life and make things better for me too.
When we walked on the field last night together, that was a neat experience, because in the end of it all, it really is a fraternity of guys that know each other, respect each other, and kind of laid the groundwork for each other. So it was a lot of fun to see a lot of the old teams, and obviously my dad was a coach. So when I was a little guy, those guys were my heroes, and so it was nice to see them too. So.
Nobody sets out to be a Hall of Famer, but, you know, now as you look back, you know, how much do you value those days and where that fits into your life? You know, nobody wants to have their glory days be when they're 17.
Right.
It's pretty important time.
Absolutely, and that's the one thing that I would reiterate is my best friends from that team are still my best friends today, and the relationships that we developed through that time frame in our lives have been, at least in my life, a lifelong relationship and friendship. So that's the best thing out of the whole experience for me. Obviously winning was awesome, and you do live for that every once in a while, but you know, being able to pick up the phone and talk to those guys every day is special to me. So.
And last thing, what's your message to the current players, athletes, whatever the sport might be, about these fleeting times?
Right.
Quick it goes.
Right. And it does. It goes very quick. Don't take it for granted that you know, you're just going to win. Continue to work hard and back your teammate up. That's the difference, I think, in our team and teams in the past and teams of the future are covering each other and doing their jobs, and everything seems to work out when we do that for each other.